What's going on, guys? This is Chandler Smith, and in today's video, I'm going to be interviewing my beautiful wife, Maddie. Now, I'm going to be using questions that you guys asked via Instagram, and we're going to be asking her about sales, about real estate, about cars, about literally anything you guys wanted to know. One other quick announcement before we jump into this video. This year, I have fallen in love with cars, and because it is the season, I wanted to share that experience with one of you. So if you go to my Instagram, it's just Chandler David Smith. All you've got to do is follow me, go and like the post and tag 3 people in it, and then share the post on your story. And what the post says is it says that I'm going to pick one of you to go to Speed Vegas in Vegas completely free. So you can win $500 to get there and an additional $500 to spend on any supercar there. It should get you 10 or 15 laps in a supercar and give you an experience that I absolutely love. So again, all you've got to do is go to Chandler David Smith on Instagram, follow me, tag 3 people, put it on your story, and then hope you win. So with all of that being said, let's jump into it.
Let's do it.
All right, guys, if you're new to the channel, my name's Chandler Smith, and I've been investing in real estate for the last 8 years. Between Maddie and I, we currently own over $13 million of real estate, a couple supercars, and this last year has been kind of crazy. So,
a little bit.
So I made a post on Instagram asking what you guys wanted to see on the channel, and one of the requests was that I interview Maddie and ask her a couple questions. So then I decided to do a poll, gather a ton of questions for you, and now we're gonna drill Maddie. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Perfect. So we're going to start with some easy questions. I've got them all laid out here. Question number 1 is, what car is your favorite?
Oh, the Raptor, 100%.
No, guys, this is infuriating for me because the Raptor is my truck. She has her own car. Granted, I've got 4, but she totally hijacks the truck every single day, so I never get to drive it anymore.
Yeah. Well, the kids' car seats are in the truck now, so I get it by default 100% of the time.
All right, fair enough. Now, this next one, we'll see what your answer is, but how did we meet? And you have to give the sketchy answer, not the original answer.
They both sound pretty sketchy to me. So. I went up to Idaho with my sister. I was still a senior in high school, and her roommates were throwing a party for Valentine's Day, and I went up to visit while I was still in high school, and that's the first time I met him. I didn't even
That's
know
the non-sketchy story.
That was good. That's pretty sketchy still.
Good. That was the first place we met.
We met. I didn't think anything of it. I didn't even know what college I was going to at that point, but we met. You texted me throughout the summer. I ended up coming up to Idaho for school.
She shut me down hard. I couldn't get her to respond to my texts.
Yeah, you were a little forward, like a smidge, a little forward. But yeah, I went up to school in the fall, and I think we started dating my second week up at school.
Yeah, are you gonna talk about how we started dating, or leave that under the radar?
He was taking my roommate out for a while, and the transition happened there, a little rough, but
it worked out great, though.
It worked out great.
So the next question, how do you feel about being in $7-8 million in debt right now?
When you say it out loud, I mean, it sounds freaky. I mean, you hear 7 million in debt in the same sentence, and it's pretty frightening. But with that being said, myself and anyone who's watched the channel, you've taught that there are 2 different kinds of debt. There's good debt and there's bad debt. And the 7 million in debt that we're in is good debt. I mean, it's not in cars that we can't afford. It's not in credit cards, spending on stuff we can't afford. It's debt that at the end of every single month we get rents in and we see it's paying itself forward. And so it's debt that I'm comfortable with because it pays.
For sure. Now, when we got married, did you feel that way?
No, I didn't. And I think that most people, I mean, I didn't come from an environment or a town or anything where I was familiar with investing. I didn't know what all that meant, but I mean, you learn as you go, and you come to realize that debt isn't so scary if it's the good kind of debt, the debt that you hope that everybody starts to accumulate because you know that you're making good money.
Definitely. Now, I know a lot of people have asked, and I got this question a couple times, so we'll just jump into it, but it was, how is the ownership of real estate? Like, do you own any real estate compared to what I own in real estate? And I know why I think that's kind of a funny question, but I'll let you answer it.
Well, at the end of the day, I mean, what's mine is yours, right? I mean, that's kind of that's the basis of our marriage, whether we're talking about real estate or anything in our day-to-day life. But yes, I've gone in and I've co-signed on almost every single property that we've bought so far. And, I know that you've probably talked about this on the channel before, but you have your 10 loans that you can use up, and those have since been used up, and now we're working on mine. So we used the first of my loans late last year on a duplex, and that's a duplex that I own in my name, and Chan co-signed on that one. So I got one. But so that's the trajectory that we're on now. We'll now use up my 10, and then we'll go forward with that when the time comes.
Definitely. And I would just reiterate, I think a lot of times I get to take credit for what we've done, but Maddy has been there the whole way, and I definitely am the numbers guy, but there's not a single deal we haven't gone through together.
Oh, no, not at all.
And yeah. I think that's what's interesting. And I know there are a lot of people that on the channel ask, how did you talk your wife into letting you invest in real estate? What would you say to those people?
I mean, we're definitely not in a relationship where he has to talk me into anything. Maybe when we started dating, that was kind of talked me into that. But yeah, it's not that way at all. Every single decision we make, whether it's to purchase a property or to pass on a property, it's made together, 100%.
Definitely. And I think, too, and this is one thing I love, one, about becoming financially free, but two, about having two spouses that have taken the time to learn and understand investing in real estate and everything else, because now it's at the point where we know what our rules are, we know what our standards are. Whether it's a property or a purchase or whatever, we still talk about everything, but I don't think there's a single purchase that's really off limits with either of us.
No, not at all.
If I see a property that's a killer deal, or you saw a car that we needed, or, both of those we would still talk about, but but we're at a place where there's never really an argument. It's more just we're on the same page. And
well, yeah, and I think back on the 32-plex purchase and how, I remember what a screaming deal that was and how excited you were because you'd had your eye on it for so long, and you walked through the numbers with me. And I look at the same spreadsheet that everybody else sees throughout all of your videos, and you're able to see hard numbers on, this is what I'm going to be getting in rents. This is what I know Jace will be able to get rents up to. And I'm able to see all those numbers. And then once that purchase went through and all was good, when the 15-plex came up for sale in the same block, in the same parking lot from the same owner, we hadn't talked about making another big real estate purchase at that point. But when it got brought up, it was kind of an unspoken, well, you have to do it. This is something we have to do at this point. It doesn't make sense not to. It's been in the works for so long, and you can't pass on something like this.
Definitely. No, and I for those of you that, whether it's the husband or the wife that are struggling to talk your spouse into doing it, I think the biggest thing is just education.
Oh, yeah.
We both were able to get on the same page and say, these are our goals. This is where we want to be. This is our plan. This is how we're going to spend our money. This is how we're going to save our money. And from the start, that's how it always was. I remember our first apartment, we went and got our furniture from the DI when we definitely could have afforded more, but we both had goals. We both knew the direction we wanted to go, and we're on the same page with it. And then it made all the other decisions pretty easy. So.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, so that kind of carries over, and I loved this question on Instagram, but someone asked, Chandler, what is the craziest thing? How did they say it? They said to ask you what the craziest thing I've ever done was.
Oh, gosh.
And probably involving cars, real estate sales. Nothing outside of that.
Okay, that narrows it down. No. Well, two things come to mind. Gosh, when you went through that eviction and then decided, hey, I'm going to go confront the tenants, I was like, what are you talking about? Why would you do that? And that was something that then, after watching the video, I still was like, I cannot believe you did that. I was palms are sweaty. I was nervous watching that video because I didn't know if, you were going to get punched. I didn't know what was going to happen. I mean, I'm happy that it all went well, and then seeing how Kevin picked it up and you guys did the fault video on that, obviously it was a very good decision, and it was a really neat way to, I guess, shed a new light on eviction and the whole process and kind of the feelings that come after that. But
and one thing about that I thought was interesting, I really wanted to post it because I knew it would go viral, but you definitely talked me out of posting it because it's a pretty gnarly video. We'll roll the clip.
You right, you ain't getting paid. Why? Because you're not taking care of your property, bro. Real talk.
But with it being such a gnarly video, I know you brought it. You're like, dude, is this really what you want to share with people? And then I was like, oh, I need to back off. And I feel like in our marriage, we've had that a lot where you're my censor that kind of keeps me from doing things I definitely shouldn't. But then once we showed it to meet Kevin, we were in Puerto Rico and we showed it to him. And he's like, hey, what if I post it, review it, and then like it's not like you're just saying, I'm putting it out there. And that made it much smoother where we were both comfortable with it, because I don't know what would have happened if I would have just posted it how we wanted to originally. It didn't have a good vibe approach that way. Like it was a rough video. If you haven't watched it, you can click the link above, but I'm glad it unfolded the way it did because of you.
Well, thanks. I don't know how much I had to do with that, but I think more of a selfish standpoint, I loved how it highlighted you and what sales has taught you, because one of the things that's highlighted in training for a sales job like you have, is learning how to deflate confrontation. So when you're on the doors and someone's cursing out to get you off their property, you know how to deflate that. And one thing that I found to be so awesome in the comments was, I can't believe you did that. There's no way I would have been able to do that. I would have railed on that guy. I would have punched him. Like, there's no way I would have been able to keep my cool. But that was really neat, being able to see that you kept your cool. And I think that's something like, share that. Share that it's possible to be in sketchy conversations and very difficult conversations where there's profanity and there's insults and there's, threats, where you can still keep your cool. I mean, it's doable. So I think it highlights the way that humankind can be if they all learn how to just calm down a little bit.
I love it. Very good. And I think were you going to say something, another crazy one?
Oh, yes. Okay. The Corvette purchase, because that was something, even the Tesla was pretty strange. I never thought that we'd be car people, so to speak. But when you brought that up, I mean, it was what, like an hour, 2 hours that the idea was presented to you from Garrett and from some of your sales guys about, dude, you have this guy's selling this. I hadn't heard of James before. I hadn't seen his channel before, but they said he's selling this car. You have to get it. You have no idea what this will do for recruiting and all of this. And at that point, that was just something where we ran the numbers on it. I mean, it was a new kind of running the numbers that we hadn't really had to do before. But the good thing that kind of comforted me with all of that is, even if it all went to crap, it didn't get any recruits, it didn't help the channel at all, it was a purchase that we could afford. It was a luxury purchase that probably didn't need to be made, if it didn't work out, but it was one that luckily we were in a position where even if nothing came from it, you could afford it, and it was something that would be fun.
Yeah. Well, and for us, we kind of looked at it as an investment because we knew it would help build the YouTube channel. We also were in the process of building our home, so we had a bunch of passive income that was coming in that wasn't really going to anything. Yeah. And we banked a lot because we knew we'd need it for the home, but we were in a pretty comfortable spot. But I still, I loved the car. I had looked at it. We had talked about it months before, and it was very much that's cool, but we would never do something like that. Yeah. But then when the Stradman had it and we had peer pressure, it's crazy though, because with the Tesla, how long do you think I took before I bought that car? Of us just talking about it, thinking about it. Months. And even to the day when we did purchase it, I was like, oh, and then that one, we send an email with bank statements and we're like, hey, we're going to be there tomorrow. We can make it happen. It was pretty nuts.
Yeah, and I think at that point, once the Ferrari came into play a couple months later. I mean, it was still a purchase that I was like, where are we going to put it? You live in Idaho. You can't drive these things half the time, at least. I mean, but at that point, I mean, you were able to see the payout, so to speak, that the Corvette had, and the legitimacy it gave to a lot of different areas of our lives at that point, where at that point, again, it was something that we could afford if it ended up being a mistake, but it wasn't. And they're cool. It's fun going out in the garage and seeing them now. It's pretty cool.
For sure. Well, and I think it's interesting because I've definitely become like car obsessed, which is good and bad. But one of the other questions that cracked me up is, how many cars do you think you can handle in the garage?
Well, no more can fit. I mean, you joked about getting a car lift, and I'm like, we live in a suburban neighborhood. What are you going to do with a car lift? But I don't know. And so, if at any point the Raptor's then out in the driveway, then we have a problem.
As long as that one's in the garage, we're good.
Yeah. Yeah. As long as you park the McLaren or whatever's next out in the driveway, then I'm good.
All right, so we've got a couple more good ones. The next one. So you guys know I do sales, I do real estate, I do YouTube. So we had two funny requests. One was to do the intro for my video. So we're going to have you do the intro for my YouTube, and then we're going to have you do your best door-to-door sales pest control pitch.
Oh, God.
So we're putting you on the spot on both. So you got to hold the mic. Let's hear the YouTube intro.
What's going on, guys? This is Chandler Smith, and today we're going to be talking real estate, okay? We got cars, we got real estate. I'm going to take you out in the garage like I do every freaking video. I'm going to show you the cars again, and with all of that being said, let's jump into it.
Maybe a little harsh. But
sorry, I got carried away there.
Now your door-to-door sales pitch.
Okay, I feel like I need to compose myself here. It's been a while since I've done this. This is okay.
Do you want me to hold the mic? I know you like hands-free for this.
I'm a hand talker like you are. Okay.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good.
My name is Maddie, and I'm with Active Pest Control. I'm in the area because I'm taking care of some of your neighbors. I have John over there on the corner, and I have Susan right across the street. They've been having a lot of issues with the ants, the spiders. You know how it gets around here, right?
Yeah.
So the reason I'm here today is because since I'm taking care of your neighbors and our truck's already in the area, I'm doing it today for just half off.
How much is half off?
For you, and because of how great of neighbors you have, I'll do it for just $99.
Let's go. She has heard me train on that one too many times, I think.
I know I still got it wrong, though. You guys are talented because I would have had the door slammed in my face.
No. But when we were engaged, actually, I took you on the doors with me.
Yeah.
But the question was, how did you handle life during the summer? Because people know it's crazy hours. You don't really see me. I know a lot of people that are married that come out to work with us, we're curious about that. How was that experience?
Well, I mean, it was hard. I mean, it definitely had its challenges, but at the end of the day, like at that point, I knew the payout that this job had, and I knew that 4 difficult months was worth it. If we had 8 months where you didn't have to have a grueling schedule. I mean, you were still recruiting, and we're in the office a lot, doing recruiting meetings, but it wasn't like the summer was. But both summers I took, I want to say 20 credits. So I was like, you were gone 10 to 12 hours a day selling, and I was doing homework for 10 hours. I mean, so that really helped keep my mind busy, and being in a new place, especially when we were in Texas in the middle of the summer, I wasn't about to go out exploring because it was so hot and humid, and I feel like we were just there for such a short period of time that I didn't want to invest a whole lot into the area, which probably isn't the most positive outlook on it, but I kept myself busy, and I think if I hadn't been finishing up with my degree, I would have gotten a job and would have worked. But it was also awesome because I was one of at least a dozen wives out there in the same position. A lot of them had jobs or they were doing school too, or, they had their kids with them. And we would try to get together at least once a week, whether it was just lunch or going over to someone's apartment to have a girls' afternoon with the kids. And that was always nice to have people that were in the same boat that you are in out there with you.
That's awesome. Cool. So, I hesitate to ask this question.
Oh, gosh.
But someone wanted to know the weird things about me that no one knows but you.
Let me narrow this down a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, I'll do one that's kind of mean and one that's kind of cute. Is that okay?
Maybe a couple cute. Or they're just one?
Okay, so you're a really clean guy. I mean, this guy showers at least twice a day, sometimes 3, after a difficult call, maybe 4. He's a really clean guy, okay? You're a germaphobe. It's great. And sometimes when he's questioning his cleanliness, I'll see a little sniff of the fingers right here. I don't know what information that gives him. I don't know if he has stinky fingers, if that means I gotta go shower again. I don't know, but there's a little finger sniff, and you do that a lot. But I know you're a clean guy. I don't worry about where your fingers have been, but you're a clean guy.
I was hoping that one would get skipped, but all right, the nice one.
I mean, you have a memory like a steel trap when it comes to your properties, sales reps, all of that. With your work, your memory is solid. I mean, if I asked you what were the rents on the 32-plex, 6 months before you purchased it, you'd be able to tell me. But you purge a lot of other information that's not necessary, which is probably a good thing. But, I mean, we've invested weeks into The Bachelorette this year, okay? And there are 2 guys left. I strongly believe that you don't even know their names. Do you know their names? See?
No, what?
Nothing.
One of them's Ivan.
Okay, you got 50% so far.
I don't remember that one.
See, and we've invested so much time into this, but I don't know. You ask him what his favorite song is, he won't know who sings it. He won't know any of the lyrics. He won't know what it's called, but it's his favorite song. So, selective memory. We'll just put it that way.
All right, that one wasn't that much nicer, but anything else to add?
He's very romantic, very, very cute. Very good husband.
Oh, thanks. All right, a couple more quick questions before we wrap up. Question number 1, if you could have any car, what car would you have?
Does it have to be a new car, or can I just keep the Raptor?
This is why I'm allowed to buy as many cars as I want, because her expectations for her own cars is very low. Not that the Raptor isn't cool, but
it's really cool. Well, if and when the next kid comes, I'll want the 3rd row, and I've heard the Expeditions are just like the Raptor. So, Raptor 2.0.
Okay.
I'll get that one.
But supercar.
Okay. I personally think the McLarens are the coolest looking supercar. I mean, more than a Lamborghini, more than anything else. I don't know why. They're really cool to me.
They're kind of like spaceshipy.
Yeah, they're really unique. So those are pretty neat.
How does it feel having a husband that's a YouTuber? I know this is a good one for you.
It's so weird. I mean, I'm so proud of you. It's really, really neat. And I love, more than anything, I mean, the most rewarding part of all this is seeing the comments and seeing the direct messages of, Jan, I got into my very first property because of you. I've used your videos. I used your course. You have no idea how much this means for my family. I mean, I feel like there have been so many messages like that, and it makes it all worth it. It takes up a little bit more time, but it's really fun. It's cool. I think when when we're out and about and you have people come to you, hey, I watch your channel. I'm just like, he's so weird. I don't know. Like, he's just a goober. Like, I don't know. But you're very suave on camera, so it's good. It's cool though. It's really neat. I'm very proud of you.
All right, guys, I have one more question I wanted to throw in here because nobody asked this, but I thought you guys might like the answer. So, Maddy, out of everything I've done, whether it's in real estate, sales, whatever else, has there ever been a time where I was doing something and you definitely questioned my judgment?
Huh. I might need a minute. Can I
have
a minute to
pause.
think about it?
All right, and we're back. Did you think of it?
Yes, I thought of it.
All right.
So the first thing that came to mind was after we bought the condo, when we first got married and decided to start investing. I know that you've brought up a couple times and joked about it, but that first call of, was it a faucet or a toilet?
I think it was both.
Was it both?
Yeah.
It was about midnight, and you were asked to go fix it because obviously it was leaking. And at that point, we just thought, we're both full-time students. You already have a full-time job with sales. This is not sustainable. You can't now be a property manager too. And obviously, Jace has been like the biggest blessing in our lives. And getting a property manager really saved our butts with that. The other thing I thought of was with some of the properties, when I've gone into an initial walkthrough, they are just dumps. And I say that in the nicest way possible because it's before the renovations have happened. It is who knows what stained carpets. They smell horrific. It's hard, but looking at it and not knowing what the finished product might look like, it's frightening. And so you walk in a place like that and you're like, you spent $180,000 on this thing? Like, what are you talking about? So stuff like that is it questioned my judgment at the beginning, but since then, we've had a couple really great renovations and very affordable renovations. You talk about fresh coat of paint, clean the carpets, maybe change the flooring, and it's a whole new place, and it's true. So that made me question your judgment a little bit at the very beginning.
For sure. When you said that, I thought of actually the duplex last year that you bought when I walked you in, and it just stunk really bad.
Bad. I don't think I made it past the living room, if I remember right.
We just turned around and dipped. And
yeah, I did it.
So, but yeah, I think it has been fun. I think it's been really fun to watch both of us evolve because as we do something the first time, it's pretty stressful. And then we become more and more comfortable with it, where it's so funny now when I'll bring, even if it's a super ghetto property to you. Actually, to an extent. It's funny. There was a property this year where I was on the edge, and
I know exactly which one you're talking about.
I was into the Aplex.
Was it the one in, was that Rigby or Blackfoot?
Yeah,
Blackfoot. Yeah, it was, what were they, $300 a month?
Yeah, they were super ghetto, and I was on the cusp.
Falling apart.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it, but then after showing them to you, we were both like, this is the direction we want to go.
It was just a whole new territory, and I'm like, you get the slumlord comments a couple times when they're very pleasant places to live, for a very affordable price, but buying that property, I'm like, that puts you in the slumlord bucket. There's no question about it. You become a slumlord if you buy those. You're done for.
Well, just to wrap up the video, guys, I have hesitated to do a video like this just because I like to keep my private life private. Yeah. But it's been really fun. I think the one thing, if you haven't picked it up already from this video, is literally everything I do. I feel like I'm pretty good at what I do, but at the end of the day, if it doesn't have Maddy's approval and I don't get her feedback on it, it doesn't happen. And that's been a filter that I feel like has really helped me in my life. And if you're dating, if you're looking for a spouse, I can't tell you how important it is to have someone that, one, is willing to learn, willing to understand, but also willing to question your judgment on stuff, whether it's an Instagram post, whether it's a video on YouTube, whether it's a property, whether it's a way I handle a certain situation with my sales reps, our travel schedule, any of that. It's really nice to have someone that kicks back a little bit and that will just give you an honest honest feedback. And I think that's one thing that Maddie's been incredible at, is understanding so that she can give good feedback and then giving me feedback, because we probably won't dive into all the things I was thinking about doing and then didn't because there's a reason that you don't know about them. But just trust me when I say I am so grateful for my wife and the huge impact that she's made on everything that we do. And I get to take credit for it all on YouTube, but 100% it's a 50-50 partnership, and I think that's why we've been able to do a lot of the stuff we've been able to do. So,
thank you.
Of course.
You can continue to be the face of it all. I'll make a cameo appearance every once in a while. Awesome. That's a strong suit that you have.
Perfect. Well, guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure that you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the future videos. And also, if you haven't already, remember to use the link below or just search me at Instagram. It's Chandler David Smith. And if you go there and share the post on your story, follow me on Instagram, and tag 3 people, it'll enter you to win a trip to go to Speed Vegas. So we're going to give you $500 to travel there. We're going to give you an additional $500 in a gift card to Speed Vegas. And this is an experience I loved, and I wanted to share that with you guys. So make sure you go and do those things on my Instagram, and you can have a chance to win. Now, my following here is pretty big, but my Instagram following is not very big. So you've got very good odds of winning. So head over there. It's Chandler David Smith. And again, if you enjoyed the video,
like and subscribe.
And we'll look forward to seeing you guys in the future videos. Thanks, guys.